All of the windows in the RV have full privacy pull-down curtains. The master bed has a privacy curtain that just goes around here to give the master bed some privacy. For the front, you have this. This part will hook onto these, and then you would have privacy from the driver's and passenger window, and of course the front window as well. This temperature box is for your heat. This is only the heater. So if it's getting chilly out and you want to turn the heat on, this is where you would turn the heat on. This box is only for AC. If you do turn the heat on, the heat comes out of the bottom from this vent right here. The AC will always come out of the top from that vent up there. For the bathroom, you have your shower curtain. You have the one roll of RV friendly toilet paper. The toilet paper used, you must always use either RV and marine friendly or simple one ply. Any other toilet paper will clog up the toilet, and most likely you'll have to have roadside come out and get rid of the waste from the toilet. You'll see these enzymes. These are pretty much just for the smell. So if you haven't dumped in a while, it's obviously gonna smell. So you would just take one, pop off the top, dump the whole thing in, and flush it. Right here on the master bed, you're gonna see your fuse box. You just push it to open it. If a fuse has blown, it will light up orange right here beside the fuse that is blown, so you know exactly which color and number to change. And then here's your breakers. You just want to make sure they're all facing the same direction. For the overhead bunk TV, this TV will not work while you're driving. It's a safety feature so the driver doesn't get distracted. So if it's not turning on, just make sure the keys are actually out of the ignition. You always want to loosen this black knob up top. In order to swing the TV out. Also, you want to be cautious of whoever is sleeping in the bunk bed, that they don't accidentally kick or damage the TV. And then when you're in transit, you kind of want to have the TV closed over here so it doesn't bump into anything and get damaged. So you would want to close it and then tighten this black knob up top. Your DVD player is here, and that plugs in right here. There is a green button right here. If you're trying to get channels on the TV, or if you're hooked up to cable and it's not working and it's not detecting any channels, just make sure this green light up here is on. There's a button right here beside it. You can turn it off and turn it on. That allows the ability to pick up channels through the antenna and through the cable hookup. So if that green light is not on, that's most likely your problem. In order to hook up and get the antenna, so the antenna, depending on the weather and where you're located, you may or may not be able to pick up channels. It's an antenna, so if it's cloudy or rainy or you're really far away, it might not pick up channels. But in order to attempt to find channels through the antenna, you go to menu, you go over to channel, you're going to change the air cable to air, click that, and then you're going to go to auto scan, and then you're going to click start scan, and it's going to scan for any channels. It'll take a couple minutes, and it'll be able to hopefully pick up some channels for you. If you are trying to exit out of this. If you are hooked up to cable at the campsite, you're going to go to cable, and then you'll also auto scan for the cable channels, and now, so obviously it's not going to find anything. If you want to use the DVD player, you would go to, you can leave it on cable, exit, and this is your remote for the TV. This remote, along with your DVD player remote and your remote for the fan. This is for the fan that's over the bed. And you can turn that on and off with this remote. Right behind the passenger's chair, you're gonna find your registration. Behind that, I've made you guys a cheat sheet. So in case you forget anything or need a little reminder of what the generator does, where the propane is, the waste tanks, whatever, that cheat sheet is right here. And obviously it's been used a little bit. Coming to the driver's portion, you have your radio, and when you put the RV in reverse, it'll automatically trigger your backup camera. You obviously always want to have a spotter, even if you have a backup camera, especially if you're going to any kind of wooded area, campsite, or something like that. You want to make sure that there's somebody guiding you, because tree branches and things like that are not good for the awning. If a tree branch gets caught in the awning, they tear pretty easily. And we've had a couple cases where just like a thin tree branch got caught in it and totally ripped the arms off. Just little things like that. So you kind of just want to make sure you have a spotter. And then especially if you're backing up, you want to have a spotter. You know, typical, just like a regular vehicle, you have your AC and heat. You have some charger plugs here, HDMI, USB, headlights, windshield wiper and blinker. This is your emergency start. So if the engine battery dies, you can jump it using the house battery. So the RV has a house battery that runs your lights and stuff like that. So if the engine battery dies, you can use that to jump start the RV. Your emergency brake is right here. Hood latch is right there. Gas, it's just regular gas. You want to try and go to truck stops only to fill up, just because you have more room and more height at truck stops. Most of our accidents do happen when people try and go to regular gas stations and then they don't have a spotter. That leads to some of our accidents. So try and go to truck stops to fill up for fuel. And again, it's just regular fuel. The entrance, you will see your outside light, that's your porch light, your inside lights. Right here is your awning. That's the sunshade on the passenger side. It comes out about 8 feet. You do not want to extend this if it's windy or rainy, and you definitely don't want to leave the awning open overnight. The fabric and the arms on the awning are actually really sensitive and tear really easily, so leaving them open overnight or when it's windy or raining is not a good idea. And to open it, you just click up and it opens the sunshade. Now I don't have the clearance to open it all the way here, but you can keep pressing up until it fully extends out, as long as you don't have anything in the way. And then you hold it down to bring it back in. And lastly, you are 12.5 foot up top on the RV. Your height is 12.5 feet. Anything on the highway, you're good. Even through toll booths, anything off the highway, you just want to make sure you at least have that 13-foot clearance. So drive-throughs, parking garages, pretty much anything with an overhang, you just want to make sure that you do have that clearance. Also, the fuel level. So whatever the fuel level is upon your departure, so the day you pick up and drive off the lot, is the same fuel level it needs to be returned at. So for example, I think this one is at like half of a tank right now. And we do take photos the day prior to your departure so that we can accurately assess the fuel level. So yeah, a little less than half. So for example, if the fuel level was like this, you would just need to bring it back at that level. So you wouldn't need to fill it all the way to bring it back. So even if you don't have the convenience package, whether you do or you don't have the convenience package, the fuel will always need to be filled to the level it was at upon departure. If you have purchased the convenience package, you do not need to worry about dumping the waste tanks or filling the propane. They can come back at whatever level. If you did not purchase the convenience package, you have to return the RV with the waste tanks level at empty. So black and gray should reflect empty, and the propane should reflect full.